Welcome to Berean TV. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put this up on YouTube or not. I might just put this on Facebook. This is something that I kind of ran across, and I wanna show y'all, some things that I do. I often say, or I said in the last couple of months, I said, I'm done with apologetics. I'm not dealing with this apologetic stuff anymore. But to be honest, woe be unto me if I don't do this thing. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff out here, and God's people need some answers, because there's a lot of slick people saying a lot of stuff about the word. The word is being attacked right now, to be honest. The word is being attacked. And we got a lot of people calling themselves ex-pastors. I think we need to start seeing some credentials. You ex-pastor, throw it up. Throw up them credentials. Where you used to preach at? What preacher that's around know you right now to be a senior pastor of a church? Because there's a lot of people popping up saying they were ex-pastors, and the only thing that got me kind of shocked is the simple things that they use in an argument. If you didn't go to seminary and you've been a pastor for 10, 12, 15 years, there's simple things that you know how to do, a word search. I hear a lot of people say, oh, the fear of the Lord, why you need to fear the Lord. I expect Oprah to say that because she was never a pastor. But a lot of people out here that's saying that they're researchers, they're pastors, they don't understand what that word fear is, and how is it used throughout writ? Where is it used? How do you do a word search on that? And it's some simple stuff. This is a gentleman that a post I ran across. Sometimes I vet memes and stuff. We do this in Sunday seminary on the regular, but this is something that I ran across that came up on my thread or whatever in Facebook. And it's not like it's different from the other stuff. It's not like no one sent it to me, but this brother saying some interesting things. So I want to kind of show y'all, for the believers, I want to kind of show y'all what I go through. Because somebody questions the Bible, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to say we can blame it all on the pastors, because pastors for 30, 40 years, pastors always been complaining that people don't come out to Bible study. They'll come to Sunday service to cut a step, to get a praise break, to hear the choir sing. But a lot of people don't come to prayer, and a lot of people don't come to Bible study. So the mere fact that we have some believers that don't know a lot about the word, and it's a spirit that's at work. Everybody's walking away from the word. Everybody is judging the word and all of these things. I just want to drop this video, and I want to show y'all how I do some of what I do, and some of what we do in Sunday seminary.
It's amazing the amount of brainwash, control, division, and fear that one book can generate. We have people walking this earth right now that honestly believe that this book was inspired by God. That means that the man that wrote this book had God tell him to write it. There are people that believe that you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven, and you cannot be right with the divine, right with the God, right with the spiritual realm, unless you are following this book.
Let me say something right here. When we're dealing with religion, when we're dealing with spiritual systems, they are almost always all exclusive. You got to follow our way. Our way is the right way. Excuse me. We have that with Islam. We have that with Judaism. We have that with Hinduism. And when it starts, and he's going to get into marrying and dealing with other people. For the most part, Hindu people marry Hindu people. Once in a while, you'll find a liberal Jew that's married to an atheist or a Protestant. But for the most part, people marry in the society that they come from, in the groupings that they come from, should I say. So Christians, for the most part, would marry Christians, but that's not always the case. I know sisters that date drug dealers. That's Christians in the church. I'm like, why are you going to date him? And he's selling drugs. He's selling poison to our people in the street. I don't care. I'm tired of sending flowers to myself on Valentine's Day. So different people, women marry, people marry outside of their circle sometime, but for the most part, about believers want to marry believers. The book is exclusive, but when you deal with the Vedas, when you deal with Hinduism, when you deal with Islam, every book is exclusive, saying that this way is the way and this is our only way. This is the only way, and people believe that. Now, he got some good points, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to show y'all and I'm going to explain some things as we're going through it, because people want to throw general stuff out there like, oh, brainwash. You got Christians that's Republican, you got Christians that's Democrat, Christians that believe in abortion, some that don't believe in abortion, all across the line have different views. Some like rap music, some like country music. You have, Christianity is so vast. There's 7.3 billion people on the planet right now. 2.1 billion people follow this book and believe this book is inspired in one form or another. But when we deal with inspiration, we have to understand that there's 4 main views on inspiration. Everybody don't look at the book on the same level. You got to understand some things out the gate. You have to understand some things with the book. 71% of the Bible is narrative. Narration means it's just telling a story. David came outside, seen a woman naked from off the terrace of his mansion. He looked down and he said, I got to get at her. Bring her up here. Who is that? He ended up messing with the girl, getting the girl pregnant and lining her husband up, getting her husband killed. That's the story people would call David and Bathsheba. That's just narrative. Now, we have to understand in that narration, that narrative, is it descriptive or is it prescriptive? Is it just describing something that happened? Just because the book and 71% of it is narrative, just because the book is explaining something to you, don't mean that that's what you need to do. That's what God wants done. But yet people call it the word of God. Maybe we'll get into some of that inspiration. No, matter of fact, let me stop this thing right now. Let me stop this thing. I said this is some other stuff. This is simple stuff right here. Simple stuff right here. Got questions anything. I often deal with people because so many people come through Sunday seminary and different people, some like buying books, some don't. I would often tell them to use Got Questions. I would give them certain resources on Blue Letter Bible, just regular stuff. Work your way through here. If you're just coming into studying, work your way through here. There's 4 different views of inspiration. You have the neo-orthodox view of inspiration. Hold on a second. Let me stop this for 1 second, and then I'm going to go straight back to the screen to the screen share. Let me hit that so y'all can, maybe this will help me out. That view, there's 4 different views. This neo-orthodox view of inspiration right here says the Bible is not really God's word in the sense that God transcends the Bible. God transcends the book, but God is so powerful that he can speak to you in your time of need through any story in the book. The problem is a lot of people in orthodoxy like myself say if God is so transcending and God is so powerful, and listen to me, believers, that means God can speak through Quran. God can speak through 5% lessons. God can speak to you through cartoons. The other lady said, "Ooh, I felt the Holy Ghost." She was watching Finding Nemo, and she said she felt the Spirit moving and talking. There's a message inside Finding Nemo. So there's different views, and you have the dictation view. Every single word that God told John to write, John wrote. Or the Gospels that we attribute. You hear me? That we attribute, because the oldest Bibles that we have so far does not say the Gospel according to Matthew, the Gospel according to Mark, the Gospel according to Luke. That's part of what we call church tradition. It has been attributed to them for so many centuries that we just automatically give it to them that this is what it is. So that's the dictation point of view. And then we have the limited inspiration. It's inspired in the main parts. There's certain parts it's inspired, and there's certain parts that could be mistakes. Let's put it that way. Then you have that plenary view of inspiration. This is what most of orthodoxy believes, number 4 down here. That's what most of orthodoxy believe, that God inspired them. He didn't dictate to them, but John, Mark, they wrote with the knowledge that they had. Do you hear me? They wrote with the knowledge that they had, with their educational level. God inspired them. They were moved by the Spirit, as Rick would say. Okay, we're going to go back into some of this stuff. So everybody thinks, it's exclusive in one way or another, that their belief system is just exclusive, basically.
Although there are people statues, artifacts, structures on this planet that predates this book by tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. That wasn't inspired by God. This was, though.
Now this is good talking right here. This is some good stuff, because people often, I heard the other ex-pastor dudes say that the pyramids are older than the Bible, so therefore the Bible cannot be true. When we start dealing with when the Bible came about, God started dealing with Israel, a group of people that are known as Israel. When Israel came about, this is why there's a lot of pastors that have problems with Hebrew Israelites. I've been involved in ministry for a minute, but I talk about other bishops like Archbishop McKinley, Archbishop Roy Brown down here in New York. And one thing I can say, McKinley was heavy on his culture thing, and he would tell us, listen, we Cushites, we existed, we've been around. We've been around way before Abraham, the first Gentile that became what later on was known as a Hebrew. Abraham, Noah, Enoch, all of them other people, Nimrod and them, those people were what you would call Gentiles. They weren't Israelites. God was dealing with the planet, but as time went on in what we call the plan of salvation, he started dealing with the nation and promised that a teacher would come through that nation, a Messiah, a deliverer would come through that nation. But the question is still there. How does God look at different religions? How would God judge people before this book came around? How did he judge them? By the laws on their heart, by doing good and bad? Another thing that got a lot of believers kind of upset or feeling cheated is that Christians are in shock when they find out there's other creation stories. There were other religious systems before the Bible came around. There were other flood stories. So when believers hear this, they get a little shocked. They get a little upset. I didn't know that. And I thought the Bible was original. The Bible was unique. But if humankind went through the same type of tragedies, it would be recorded in one way or another throughout their myths, their stories, their legends, their tales coming down. That's one of the reasons that I think it's interesting to look at other flood stories all over the world and not just push it off into allegory. God will judge them by what they knew. God will judge them by their heart. These are good things to discuss. These are good things to discuss and bring up inside of a Bible study or with your pastor or with your church. If you are a pastor, it's good to bring certain things out. People hear a lot of things. So in your Sunday morning sermons, in your teachings, throw things out there that you see on Facebook and attempt to answer it. Even within the sermon, attempt to answer it, because certain things are coming up on people's threads. What would God do with the people that came before? The Most High know how to do. The ruler of the heavens and earth, he know how to judge people, and he judged people differently throughout different times in human history. People would look at that and talk about dispensations. How did he deal with Adam and Eve? Did they have the 10 commandments, or he just gave them a few things? Don't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Noah, was that a different dispensation? These are just words y'all can pull up.
There are people that won't even deal with you unless you're following this book. Family members, loved ones, it doesn't matter. There are women and men that won't even date you. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are, how faithful, how loyal you are, no matter what you bring to the table. They won't mess with you if you don't follow or believe this book. There are people that believe that if you don't follow or believe this book, that when you die, you are screwed. You are going to burn in a lake of fire for all eternity. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are, how many good deeds you did on this planet. If you are not following this book, when you die, boom, you're done. Doesn't matter.
It's interesting because a lot of these so-called ex-pastors, they want to get to run into Kemet. Kemet had the Book of the Dead specifically for life after death. This is where I don't even want to get into Joseph Smith and different people and do you burn forever and how hell came about. I forget the lady, Pagels. I forget the lady name from Princeton. I won't even get into her right now because I had to pull up some slides and show y'all some stuff. And I'm just kind of freestyling right now. But a lot of these people like this brother and some other brothers, they say, oh, well, being that the pyramids are older than the Bible, I'm going to go with Kemetic spirituality, so to say, even if they say they don't follow the principles of Mayat. But you got to understand that's the main purpose of the book of the coming forth by day, or what they would call the Egyptian Book of the Dead. So when you die, which was originally, listen to me, which was originally for the Pharaoh alone, then later on, it went to the priest, aristocrats, Emotep, and then later on, everlasting life was open to everybody. But you needed spells when you went to the underworld. There were beings, when you got down there, there were beings that you had to have some spells, or what people would call verses, to hit those spirits with, so you can go before the, so you could come and be judged. You can come before the throne of Osiris, so you can be judged in the underworld by the principles of Mayat. You could say, I have not done this, I have not done that. This is one of those types of systems. So even in different spiritual systems, you'll see that mankind knew, even before the Bible, mankind knew he had to be judged, because that's something that's imprinted on the human heart. That's a whole nother thing, but let's keep going.
It's true. There are people that believe that this book is the absolute only way. That's right. If you're decent, have empathy or whatever, you have to get it out of this book.
No, it's not. It's not. You can be a good person. This is what people don't understand. You can be a good person and have good morals and treat people right. But according to Writ, this is where there's a whole big attack on original sin. It's a whole big attack on that. And Writ says that it's not by works of righteousness which you have done. By default, there's people out here that's more polite than I am, and I'm a believer, and I've been a believer for years. I hate to say it, but there's people out here that by default are nicer than me in some areas. But that doesn't mean anything if you understand the doctrines within the book. These are things that I'm just throwing out there. I can't, because I'm going to try to get through all of this video. It's only 10 minutes, but 10 minutes could turn into an hour and a half with me, and I may just put it up on Facebook. I may do a longer one for YouTube.
Although this book condones slavery, this book condones rape, this book condones the murder of the innocent.
Ah, the murder of the innocent. Y'all got to come to, some of y'all, if y'all want to get deeper in it, we talk about this stuff in Sunday seminary. When it deals with murder and rape, when it deals with what we would call slavery, we have to make sure that we're looking at everything in its context. But remember the thing that I said earlier, I'll get into it later on, but the thing that I said earlier, is it descriptive? Is it just describing something that was happening, or was it prescriptive? Is it prescribed? Does God like rape? Does God like murder? Just because you see it in the book don't mean that he likes it. This is how come we've had some people that are, and people are saying it now, that are what we would call deists. Deists are people like Thomas Jefferson. Some people would claim Paine. A lot of people, deists are people that believe in the Most High, that there's one true God, and he's created the heavens and the earth, and he kind of wind it up like a clock, and he threw it out there. There are spiritual laws, there are spiritual principles, there are natural laws. He's not coming in and doing miracles and all of that, but it's just natural laws. So mankind can rape, mankind can rob, he'll pay for it, whatever, but you can do bad if you want to do bad. You can do what we call good if you want to do good. You don't have to follow the creeds of the church or anything. You just do whatever, and the Creator kind of made things and just threw it out there and left it out there, and mankind can do his own thing. And that's something interesting that people can talk about. How much freedom does mankind have? Because every time people they would see something, somebody robbed, he chopped up the little baby, he chopped the baby head off, they were drinking the blood, and they kidnapped girls, and he had babies, and all of this other crazy stuff. Does the Creator have to step in? Will the Creator always step in? Is man to judge, govern himself, do whatever he want to do, and then pay for those deeds in the end? If you do wrong, wrong is going to come to you. If you do right, right is going to come to you. Some people would feel, no, that's not the doctrines of the Bible. But these are things that could be brought up in a Bible study. One thing we do in Sunday seminary, people come with on different educational levels. We got some seminarian people, some pastors, some chaplains, lawyers. We got all type of people, and they come with different views, but they're going to respect each other, and we're going to throw those views out there, because we need to know how to engage without saying the blood of Jesus. Wait a minute, because you don't believe my view. That's another thing. Believers, we got to get to understanding some things. Just because I don't have the same view as somebody else don't mean they're the devil. Where there's a whole bunch of people in the church that believe in the rapture, a whole bunch of people in the church that don't. There's a whole bunch of people in the church that believe the world is only about 10,000 years old. There's a whole bunch of people in the church that don't. So there's a whole bunch of people in the church that believe in speaking in tongues, and there's a whole bunch of people that don't.
It doesn't matter though. If you follow it, it's all good. So I asked myself, how can this book benefit me as a person? Make me feel good about myself? Make me feel a sense that I'm better than anybody that doesn't follow this book?
I don't know what would make you feel. I don't know what would make you feel that, but I guess he's thinking that Christians feel special because they have what we call revelation from God, revelation from on high. We believe it reveals not everything about God. So I don't worship the book. A lot of people, John says that if we start even just looking at the works of Christ, that there was so much more. And if everything was recorded, this is the problem. A lot of people look in the Bible for everything on the planet, to answer every question on the planet, and it was never given for that purpose. But we're going to go on. He's saying some good stuff. I don't want to shoot down everything that he's saying. But another thing, these ex-pastors, all right, I said I wasn't involved in apologetics, but I can't help myself. But these ex-pastors, if y'all would like to talk, maybe we can talk. I don't mind talking. I don't mind talking at all. Let me see if I can close this up, what I did here. I don't mind talking at all because y'all got some excellent points, and some Christians do need to hear some things. But at the same time, a lot of y'all are throwing some stuff out there, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to believe that y'all were pastors. Now, it's so crazy because there's certain things that I can do when we start dealing with the writ. There's certain things that I can do. Let me see what I did to the screen here. There's certain things that I can do when dealing with the Bible. I had to stop that for a moment. I'm kind of just really getting into this thing here. Let me make sure that I'm not sure. Hopefully this is the same spot, and we can continue.
So I asked myself, how can this book benefit me as a person?
I went back a little bit.
Make me feel good about myself. Make me feel a sense that I'm better than anybody that doesn't follow this book. I can use this book actually to manipulate people. I can use this book to inflict my will on other people. All I have to do is come with a passage out of this book and give them a story from my mind and tell them that God told me this, and I can convince them to do what I want them to do.
That's the truth. That's the truth. That's how come Rick says that as individual believers in the book, you need to know how to rightly divide the word of truth. If you need to know how to rightly divide something, that means you can wrongly interpret it or divide it. That's how come studying for oneself is important, and not just taking what you're getting from the pulpit. You have to have your own relationship. You have to, with the Most High, you have to have your own relationship with the have your own knowledge of the book. But that comes, I hate to say it, but to be honest, that comes with the territory. What do you mean? Like I said, 7.3 billion people on the planet, 2.1 or something like that, over 2 billion people believe that book is inspired in one form or another. Originally, when the Secret Service started, the Secret Service ain't start to guard the President of the United States of America. When the Secret Service started, they started off to guard the money. There's something interesting because in the United States of America, the dollar bill, or should I say American currency, is the most popular currency on the face of the earth. Secret Service said the $20 bill is the most counterfeited bill on the planet. And at any one time, it's like, what, maybe $300 million of counterfeit money that's out there. I forget the numbers. This is why I should have this stuff ready to pull it up. But that just comes with the territory, because the Bible is the most popular, most reverenced, most quoted book on the planet. There's over 4,100 languages and dialects. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That verse alone is translated in almost 2,100 languages. That's a lot of language. That's almost half of the languages on the planet. Not the whole Bible, but at least that verse alone is translated in so many languages and dialects. That comes with the territory of a popular book that people reverence and believe came from God. There's going to be some manipulators in there. We got everybody from Waco and David Koresh and different religious cults or organizations. Anybody that's a correction officer will tell you guys on death row reading the Bible, they're thinking about life. But murderers know the Bible. Drug dealers, weed sellers, a lot of people know Bible. So can they manipulate? Can they show you a scripture? And he took the woman unto himself. Girl, you better come over here. You know I'm a deacon in the church. I can have you according to the book. And he'll read one verse. It's like, oh God, for real? And God ain't gonna mind. Read what happened in the book of Exodus. And they'll throw stuff out there like that. So that's true. So that's true. Manipulation is there. We need to know the book by ourselves. But because people have used guns and rob and kill, y'all not gonna fool me and tell me we don't need no hammers. I just don't go for it. That some people would go for that. Oh, because I ran into counterfeit money. I don't want no money at all. Things happen. Because I heard of some bad situations. For most people on the planet that believes in this book, they're looking for it for guidance. I have to go to testimonies now. There are too many people, murderers, killers, drug dealers, people out in the street, down and out. There's too many people, businessmen. There's too many people in a hotel. Brother wanted to kill himself. Businessman, mansion, 4 cars and 2 boats on 2 different oceans, yachts. He wanted to kill himself. He opened up that Bible that he saw in the desk of the hotel where he was going to blow his head off. And he just opened it up and God started ministering. Right now, this day, he's a pastor and he's helping other people. Too many strippers, too many killers whose lives have been changed from the book. There's a mystical side to the book that God is at work, the God of heaven, the Most High God is at work dealing with that book. And it's too many hundreds of millions of people all over to have that testimony that that book did influence them and they look for guidance through the book.
If I rent out a building and invite people to come to the building every Sunday and listen to me tell stories from this book and quote passages from this book, add my opinion to it, I can convince them to pay me 10% of their money every week.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I can't deny that. That's another thing. And some people get in ministry for that. I won't even get into tithing and the law and is it right to tithe or whatever, but it clearly the Bible supports giving to the teacher, to the minister, to the pastor, supporting them, helping them or whatever. So I'm not going to even get into that, but he's absolutely correct. And people have gotten to ministry, especially with this prosperity thing. I see it here. I see it really jumping in Africa. But for the most part, I know most pastors don't have helicopters and mansions and stuff like that. But some people have gotten rich off of misquoting scripture. And right now I might as well share orthodoxy. Orthodox Christian teaching does not believe in the prosperity gospel. Somebody recently emailed me and said, Joyce Meyer said she might have took the prosperity gospel too far and she admitted that some stuff. I'm like, okay, I didn't even have time to get around to that and look into that. But a lot of people have used a few scriptures to play people. I guess there's a passage in I believe it's in Kings where the woman was going to give her last. She's like, I don't have nothing. The prophet came through. And then he said, listen, make me first a meal. And you're going to get, and that basically the blessing came about because she gave up her last. And the woman with the might and Jesus overseeing the offering in the temple and teaching from that. So that has been going on, and that's a reality. But like I said, because that is a reality, how do we deal with that with our spirituality? Because people see certain things in the book. Should I just throw all of that away? And for the most part, when people tell you to throw that away, they want you to pick up Mayat. They want you to pick up something else, like the Egyptian priests weren't playing people. I don't even want to start on that. We gotta I think it's next week we're starting up another class. I'm gonna do a few more classes. I'm doing one straight on conspiracies. We're gonna do the protocols of Zion, of Jews running the planet. We have religious conspiracies. We have like New World Order conspiracies. Every time you hear conspiracy, Freemasonry come up. But we have other conspiracies too, dealing with people like black people. Are Europeans out here trying to systematically kill black people, bring down the population of the entire planet? Do they want to kill off black people? We're going to get into chemtrails and everything. Every week is going to be on something different, but we got to look at some of this stuff. Are some of these conspiracies real? Did they give us the Bible? There's a biblical conspiracy out here that the white man gave us the Bible and cut us off from our true spirituality. I'm going to do that class live, and it's going to be open. We're going to have some. I think people are going to be able to call in another 2 weeks. We got a studio set up and everything. I'm going to get the phone line and stuff ready. Like I said I'm not involved in this apologetic stuff, but I'm trying to help God's people. That's what I'm here to do. Come on, let's get it in.
I can even convince women to have sex with me through this book.
That's right.
Because when a woman sees me quoting this book, acting like I'm living off this book, she's going to be attracted to me.
Women are attracted to power in general. If you're a basketball player, if you're a rapper, like I said, even the church girl, if you're a hustler on the corner and you're switching up cars, and women are attracted to power. A lot of women like power, good or bad. They're attracted to that because they want to cover and they want to be up under. I gotta be with him. He's about that. He's getting it. He's making it in life. He's a boss. He's a shot caller. Being it on the church, be it in the church, be it on the basketball court, be it in the courthouse as a judge, as a lawyer or whatever. This is just how it is, not just with the book. In general, women are attracted to power.
Because I'm teaching this book, and this book teaches that you need a man that follows this book. And here I am, a man that's following this book, a young, handsome man that's following this book. So therefore, they're on me because I'm on this book. This is the reason why so many young preachers are having sex with members in the church. Manipulation.
Now, I'm not going to even say nothing about that. Absolutely true, because women are attracted, and sex is natural. People are going to do that. Are you supposed to do that? The Bible, the same book you're holding right there, condemns that. That same book that you're holding right there condemns that. But at the same time, people have free will. What are you going to do with that? You kill. What are you going to do with that? I don't have no problem with what he said right there, but that's open to some discussion.
What can this book do for me as a person? It could put me on a pedestal. I can have people following me, looking at me like I'm holy, divine, and all of this. And I could not even be hearing from no damn God at any time. But the simple fact that I know this book very well, and I quote it very well, I can build an entire following off of this book.
Absolutely correct.
But then I have to ask myself, what does this book do for my people as a whole? Not a damn thing.
Well, that's open to interpretation. More people that have been in the struggle. I'm just going to deal with America alone. I'm just going to deal with America, because most people, they don't deal with the Bible on a whole and Christianity on a whole. They want to deal with Catholicism. They want to deal with the European slave trade. No conscious person, nobody following Mayat, your chakra system, your third eye, dealing with Osiris and the resurrection. None of y'all have moved like the church have moved. Nobody conscious, I know, getting it in. Even recently, the government's been shut down for 31 days. Who the first people to step it up but the church to help the government workers? Some people say, oh, they're going to be, that's because they're tied in with the 501c3. We're going to do a 2-week class on that alone, because a lot of y'all confused and just don't have your facts together, but it falls under the religious conspiracy that the church is out there and the church moves with the government and the government is oppressing the people. That's going to be like I said, them classes are open, free phone calls. We going live. It's gonna be it. But he's bringing out some points. And once again, Christians, don't be mad at him. These are things that we need to discuss. But at the same time, what has that book done? Look at the majority of leaders coming out from Frederick Douglass, go back to the slave narratives. They weren't dummies. They knew the difference between what the white slave master was doing and what that book really said. Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, come on down, all the way down to even when we're dealing with, who's the father of Pan-Africanism down here, Marcus Garvey and the rest of them. But at the same time, because a lot of Europeans were doing stuff that was wrong, this is how we birthed a lot of these other movements. The Nation of Islam, all of these movements, the Moore Science Temple, they were birthed out of certain things. When you start dealing with the Great Migration and people coming up from the South and looking for job, and things are rough, and the Klan and redlining and so many different things, groups have formed through that. So it was easy for somebody like WD to come on the scene and start teaching that y'all are a chosen people. This is why y'all, I come for the lost and found tribe. I come for the people of Shabazz that's over here in North America. Y'all have been lost. And he come to wake y'all up out of the book. And he used the book because people knew the book. And then slowly, as his following started growing, he started bashing the book. It's easy to point to, it's easy for Crowley and other people to have visions and say, listen, God spoke to me and God told me you're chosen. That's how come y'all are going through what y'all are going through. And it's easy to bring up doctrines like the white man is the devil that the Bible spoke about. Because when those doctrines first appeared on the scene, look what Europeans were doing to people of African descent. And I'm not going to say all Europeans. This is a serious problem in the conscious community. If they were really students of sociology, religion, or whatever, they would know you can't lump everybody together. All black men, all tall black men can't play basketball. Or this is just how it is. People just want to, all white people are wicked. Anytime people start coming around, y'all saying all, be careful. I was telling people in the class, it depends how you are first introduced. I was first introduced to being around Europeans. I grew up in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, in the hood back in the days. It's nothing like Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn is today. I grew up back in the hood. My first contact with Europeans were through the court system, police officers, correction officers in the penitentiary. So of course I'm gonna feel a certain way about white people. But I'm not crazy enough to say all white people are like that. Now, my kids are different. My children grew up with white neighbors, going to school with white friends, and it's totally different. So it's how you come in contact. This is the thing. There's a lot of people in the conscious community. They came in contact with Europeans, not by living next door with them so they can say, listen, there's some good people and there's some bad people in every ethnic group. They can't say that because the first contact they came into, and a lot of people in the conscious community have been to the penitentiary. A lot of these master teachers, they have had bouts with the law and everything. So they're going to look at the cops a certain way. And they're so spooked out with the book, they'll read parts of the book and say, yeah, I'm being persecuted because I'm chosen. No, you made a direct sale to an undercover officer. Stop it.
There's absolutely nothing that this book can bring to your life that you can't do without. There's nothing that you can do with this book in your life that you can't do without it. This book is keeping my people divided.
Now, Dustin, I want to stop right there. Because you could tell one of these people, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not seminary trained. I don't know nothing, but I got 4, 5, 6 books. Every year I'm gonna go up on the number, but that's sarcastic. I do my fair share of reading. Like I said, there's too many people that feel the testimony of that book has opened their eyes, has took them places in their life that they would have never dreamed of. He'll do more for you. I feel like preaching. That's the preacher in me. People do that. But in all actuality, putting on all seriousness, there are more people that lives have actually transformed dealing with the book. When they start saying, this book is keeping our people from uniting. Y'all weren't saying that when the Muslims have y'all in slavery. Y'all weren't saying that. When you look at the vast continent of Africa, show me any one time that all black people on the continent had the same religion, had the same mindset, had the same political views. Show me where. It has never happened. It has never happened. So these people are trying to get you. It's him. It's a few other brothers. They're trying to get you. This is the new thing. Throw away the Bible. They don't know it's the occult doctrine that they're trained in from years and years. Now, that's something else we can get into right there. That's the occult doctrine. They've been trained in that for years, so they're moving in the spirit. And a lot of them will tell you, yes, I am of the spirit of the Antichrist. You're right. I'm against that white man and that white man's book. But they never bring up Lalibellum. They never bring up that Christianity was in Africa way before the European trend, or what we would call the transatlantic slave trade. This is how come I tell people as an adult, when you're vetting things, all you have to do is know timelines. Don't just listen to what these people saying. And like I said before, this young man right here, Kedrick D, we can get it on live. We can talk on Kevin Wesley, Tamel. We spoke for about an hour and a half. I respect you. You came out. You didn't say you had an MDiv or nothing. You said, listen, I went to Moody. I got my undergrad from there. We can get it on. We can talk. It's good to dialogue. We don't have to debate and fight and cuss each other and all of that stuff, but we can talk and we can bring things out for posterity's sake. People need to know certain things, and people do want answers. And I think people are smart enough that they're hearing, all right, I understand what that brother's saying, and I understand what this other brother over here is saying. So when they start that mess, I don't receive none of that mess. We've never been unified. So don't put the Bible down. What's the answer? Mayat? Everybody on the continent of Africa did not follow the principles of Mayat. Oh, boy, that's going to get a whole bunch of them Hotepians mad right there.
There are people that follow this book and can't even worship this book together.
Okay, he brought out a good point. Why are there so many denominations? That's something the Israelites would, banging on church with, and the church would tell the Israelites, why y'all got so many camps and all of that stuff. That's just human nature. And we're gonna what's this other thing? We're gonna deal with another. I said I was gonna read to y'all all these classes that we had coming up. Is God dismantling Christianity? Is there a spiritual system that's coming through the earth and God's just dismantling everything else? And I started those slides because I got somebody that came to me and said, what happened to Carlton Pearson in the church? Y'all better leave Carlton Pearson alone because he's coming into, we move into the age of Aquarius. There's enlightenment. Our third eyes are being open, and we don't need religion. We're all a spiritual people. Who needs a book? So I was going to do a class on that. I actually started the slides just because of the email that came in. And I'm going to do another one, the New Age bishops, when we're dealing with Carlton Pearson and we're dealing with Bishop Spong and we're dealing with Ray Hagan. A lot of people look at Ray Hagan and his view of spirituality as authentic. And he's one of the realest pastors I've ever seen. So I was going to do another class on them.
Different denominations, people like Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, Lutheran, non-denominational.
And actually, we all basically believe the same thing, just little small things here and there. But it's man's nature. I believe we have a sinful nature. It's man's nature to bring division. So a lot of people would say, when Christianity started out, is this what the Messiah planned for Christianity? I don't want to give y'all too much from that other class, but did the Messiah plan to start a whole movement? If we just use the scriptures and the scriptures alone, we have to look at stuff like that. If there were all black people on the planet, because some of y'all people in the conscious community, most of y'all in the conscious community believe all white folk are wicked. Believe crazy stuff like there was no sin in Africa. If you believe in the out of Africa theory, there was no sin in Africa till a white man crawled out the Caucasus Mountains and he taught people how to become gay. He taught people how to steal. He taught people wickedness. We weren't going to war till a white man came among us in Egypt. First of all of y'all was not in Kemet. That's the first thing. Secondly, there's a human problem that's a sin problem. When we start dealing with division and wars and fighting and disagreeing, you can put black folk by themselves and get rid of all the white folk, Hispanic folk, Asian folk on the planet that's going to be raping and robbing and division. Somebody's going to have pride and want to be the king, and somebody's going to want to knock the crown off of the king to take over. This is human nature. If we were all black, it'll be a war between the tall and the small. If we were all rich, it'll be a division among the rich people. Whatever it is, this is human nature, and divisions do come in there. But for the most part, when you're dealing with Christianity, we all basically believe the same thing. Like I said, some of us speak in tongues, some of us don't. Some believe in the rapture, some don't. And that's all it is basically with those denominations right there, unless you get into the cults and we start dealing with the nature of Christ, who Christ is. Then you start getting into what would still be called Christian cults, Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons. I don't want to make this video too long because I can go on. Maybe because there's all of this stuff I'm working on.
And let's not forget the white church. They all separated, yet all follow this book and all teach that we must live in peace, but they can't even come in peace together.
Yeah, he said something right there. He done said something right there. And I'm not going to even get into the white-black thing and why we call it the black church and the division in the beginning. Have European Christians really lived according to the book? No. That's why, like I often would tell people in multiple videos, that's why we had the AME church. Whites, even if you go back to Seymour and Azusa Street, you know, we already had an element of mixing back there. And in the old tent meetings and stuff like that, there was a small element of mixing, but it's been so long. A lot of Europeans weren't treating us equally, weren't treating us equal as a people. So we pulled out some of the first movements that were started were like the AME church and blacks doing for self, because they're seeing that a lot of European Christians, or should I say organizations, were two-faced. They'll say God created all men equal, and they'll have the black Christians in the balcony, and they'll have to eat communion after the European Christians are finished, treating them like second-class citizens. You have to address these things. Brother's bringing out a good point there. A lot of people don't want to deal with race at all because the book got them so, you know, they're so spiritually minded, heavenly minded, that they're no earthly good.
So what is this book doing for my people as a whole? Absolutely nothing. It's keeping them asleep, keeping them loving their enemies, teaching them to smite, to turn the other cheek and offer the other cheek if somebody smite them on one, teaching them to love.
Let me stop that right there. It's crazy how Dr. Ben spoke on was speaking on different spiritual systems. If you look around, if you deal with the Dalai Lama, if you deal with Hinduism, they'll tell you that unforgiveness is one of the greatest things. Dr. Ben said, I think Dr. Ben said in Black Man of the Nile that it was like fetters. The priest taught in Kemet, you couldn't even move to the next level unless you were involved in unforgiveness, because they're like chains, they're like fetters that will hold you down. You can't flourish and go to your higher self, to that next level, if you're holding grudges and stuff like that. That's not, to be honest, that's not unique to the Bible. That's not unique to the Bible. There are different spiritual systems that say, listen, you have to forgive. You have to forgive, and forgiveness is important.
And forgive their enemies and oppressors, teaching them to wait on the Savior to fix their situations when they could have fixed them themselves.
Where the Bible teach you to wait on your situation? Where does the Bible teach you to wait on your situation? Christianity has been around quadruple the time of the United States of America. In Rome, they were going through one thing, and the Christians were being persecuted in Rome. And that's one thing. We're unique in the United States of America. No matter, we've been through struggles. People can say what they want. That's how come I don't like too many people that want to bash the country, though, because things are moving. It's not like it was back in the days. Things are moving. Things are changing. And when we start dealing with that, we have it where we could get out here and protest. We don't like A, B, C, and D. So that's different where Christianity is here today. That's how come I put in the post before what Constantine did for the church. Was it good or bad? When Constantine in 313 put out the Edict of Tolerance and said it's okay, we're not going to persecute the Christians. He didn't turn around and make everybody a Christian. Y'all get it twisted. Y'all get the whole Nicene Council twisted. Before the Nicene Council, it was the Edict of Milan because Christians were being persecuted. Whilst Christians were being persecuted, people were still dying for the faith. We still had pure bishops. It wasn't popular to be a bishop. You couldn't be in Koja. You weren't running around here in $1 million house and all of this other stuff, being the leader of a denomination and all of this other stuff. It was a terrible thing to be a bishop, a leader in the church. It was an underground church, but Constantine lifted that band, and that was in 313. So when people start saying things, we have to know the background. All of this stuff sounds good, but a lot of things that people are discussing when it comes to the Bible, it has to do with racial issues. And there's a lot of things that, believe it or not, that's predominantly an American phenomenon. When we start looking at cults and different things like that, there are some things that are unique to the United States of America. We're free to vote. We're free to get out here and fight and protest. We don't like something. People can get to tweeting about it, and people are going to have to change their behavior. People's getting caught on videos doing certain things. Immediately, they're losing their jobs. Oh, you were making racial slurs. Oh, no, that doesn't reflect our company. We got rid of that person in that video that went viral. So it's a unique thing going on in America, but Christianity is in other countries where people are still being persecuted. We got the ability to change situations, and we've always been putting in work to change situations, specifically, not so much the conscious community, named coming out of slavery, named conscious people, and I can tell y'all they were locked in with the Bible. They weren't dealing with the principles of Mayat and all of that other stuff that y'all trying to spew now. Y'all get another 1,000 years in, another 500 years in, then you can put your mouth on black people and black people that have followed that book. But we've been leaders dealing with that book. But we're going to deal with the Boule and some other classes, and we're going to talk about people, Reverend Al Sharpton and different people. Are the preachers pacifying the people? Should we discuss that? Absolutely. Y'all got to come to the table, but don't bang the book at the same time. Y'all got to come to the table.
A long time ago. What is this book doing for my people? Demilitarizing them. Stopping them from rebelling against the system. Convincing them that if they love the people that are oppressing them, eventually the oppressors are going to get tired of oppressing them and say, you know what, we're going to treat you guys fairly. But guess what? It hasn't happened in about 500 years.
Social rebellion. It's so crazy because Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks not wanting to get up. That was a form of rebellion right there. How are we going to rebel? A lot of times we'll get these old wild folk. We got to get out here. We got to get to killing these white folk. Well, I want to talk about reality. I want to talk about reality right now. You ain't ready to run around here and start killing no white folk. I don't know why. I shouldn't even said that to start y'all up. Y'all run around here want to kill white folk. Y'all ain't got one tank. Y'all ain't got one helicopter. Y'all ain't got one laboratory to start making chemicals for chemical warfare. Now, don't go start running, telling the feds that I'm bringing these things up. But a lot of people want to sound like they're militant and I'm ready for and we're going to get rid of and using all these words for Europeans. And y'all ain't ready to do nothing. Them guys that's ready to do something, go ahead and do it. In all actuality, listen, you better fight it and you better get into this warfare. If you don't like things and you want them to change, you better go about the right means in doing it. Now, I know a lot of y'all watch videos and young guys out here flashing hammers and they got it and they want to put in work. They don't want to do that. They don't want to go against the United States military, the United States government. When the SWAT officers busting the door, they don't even want to shoot out. So a lot of people are just talking. We've been Martin Luther King, what he was doing, civil rights movement. Listen, we're not going up in none of these stores. Listen, we're going to go in these stores, and we're going to sit down at that counter, the segregation. We don't like it. They're going to go and put that work in. They were all believers.
So this book right here, in my opinion,
in your opinion,
keeping my people bound.
In his opinion,
this book is separating my people. This book is dividing my people. And the only way we can build towards our freedom is to separate from this damn book.
That sound good right then. He threw the book out. That's to make a statement. I'm not impressed. But in all actuality, he's throwing that book away, and there's a lot of people that's throwing the Bible away. I'm just wondering, are you playing yourself by doing that? Black Americans, are you playing yourself by doing that? We already got a generation, we haven't been dealing with the book. I like what Biggie Smalls said, that we're dealing with the kids. The parents even scared of us. We're not teaching the principles of that book. Honor, not fear, honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be long. But we can bring in the crack epidemic. We could start blaming Europeans, but there's principles. There's been a foundation for blacks in this country. We've been making it. Y'all can't play. Cats that know their history can't be played by the conscious community. We know that there were black people that had the Bible way before the Pope came on the scene, way before the transatlantic slave trade. If y'all gonna get a truth, give up the whole truth and nothing but the truth. What do you think is gonna work for us? The principles of Mayat will take over this country. It's good to discuss these things. What you think gonna work for us? 5% lessons? What about Noble Drew Ali? What about that Circle 7 Quran? That plagiarized book from the white man what's that brother name that wrote the 18 Missing Years of Jesus, Dowling? Who book should we pick up? What white man should we run to now? What white mystic from the 18th century should we follow right now? Gerald Massey gonna free us? Count Von Lee gonna free us? Who gonna free us with their esoteric doctrine? Who's gonna free us? Y'all been watching Berean TV. My name's Brother Berean. Thanks for watching. Let's see if I can shut this thing down in my whole thing.